Hello students, in this session we will be discussing how to do ledger posting of double column cash book. Now I am pretty much sure that if you know how to post ledger from double column cash book, then it will be easy for you to do from single column cash book. Now first let us see what is double column, how are we supposed to do ledger posting from double column cash book. Now all entries appearing on the debit side of the bank column are posted to the credit side of the respective accounts, okay, in ledger by writing by bank account. Now remember, if in the cash book any entries is appearing on the debit side, now we know that, sorry, usually we have two sides in cash book. Okay, now in this sentence they are saying if any amount, let's see, this is the amount column. Okay, if any amount column, wait, this is cash column, this is bank column. Now if any amount is appearing on the debit side, this is debit, sorry, excuse me for my handwriting. Okay, if any amount is appearing on the debit side and in the bank column, then we are supposed to record on the credit side of that account's ledger. Okay, and then by writing by bank account because it is appearing in the bank column. Now you will understand properly when we will solve in practical question. Okay, now this is credit side, this is cash column, and this is bank column. Then and vice versa. Suppose if any amount is appearing on the bank column on the credit side, then we have to write it down on the debit side of that particular account. Okay, it may be noted that when the bank column is maintained in the cash book, the bank account is not opened in the ledger. Means since we have bank column in our cash book, so we don't need to prepare any bank account. Okay, remember that the bank column itself serves the purpose of a bank account. Since the bank column is included in the cash book, we don't have to prepare any extra ledger account of bank account. So, and remember, another important point is that all contra entries that are marked C are ignored while posting from the cash book to the ledger. That means for all the contra entries we have to do nothing in ledger. Okay, we have to simply just ignore those contra entries, because the double aspect means we used to record contra entries on both the side, debit as well as credit. So both the dual aspect of that transaction has been completed in the cash book itself. So we don't need to prepare any extra ledger account, okay, for contra entries. So these were some important points that you have to understand before doing any ledger from cash book. Okay, now let us see one practical question. I have taken illustration number 4. Okay, now in this question we are supposed to prepare a double column cash book. Then we have to prepare journal proper as well, because there will be some transactions which we cannot record in cash book, but we have to pass journal entry for that. So, and later we have to post them into ledger. Now remember, in the question they haven't mentioned anything about trial balance. Okay, your job is to prepare only double column cash book, journal proper, and ledger. Okay, you don't have to prepare trial balance. So in examination also pay very careful attention to the question, that what they are asking, because if they are not asking about trial balance and you keep on preparing that, you will lose your valuable time. Okay, now let us see the question. On April 1st we have balance of cash in hand 15,000 and we have bank overdraft of 40,000. Now I hope that you all haven't forgotten how to prepare cash book. Okay, now let us see. Since we have cash, balance of cash in hand, then we will write to balance brought down on debit side in cash column 15,000. But in the question they gave that we have bank overdraft, so it will appear on the credit side by balance brought down in the bank column 40,000. Then next, now another suggestion for you is that you can do this 3-step all together. Okay, you can prepare format of cash book in one page. Then they asked for journal proper, so you can you can keep one page for journal proper entries, and the third page you can you can start preparing ledger accounts. Okay, so as soon as this first transaction is completed in cash book, then you will see whether you have to pass any journal entry or not. Since in this case we don't have to pass any journal entry, so you can simply just go to the ledger accounts. Okay, and you can start preparing there. But since this is this opening balance and we don't have to prepare cash account and bank account, so we can ignore this while preparing ledger accounts. Now let us see on April 2. Received check for goods sold rupees 25,000. This check was deposited into the bank on next day. Remember that check was not deposited on 2nd of April. That means on day 2 it is still our check in hand. So in cash book we will write on the debit side 2 checks in hand. Oh, sorry, we are talking about day 2's entry. Okay, on day 2 we simply just received that check, we didn't receive any cash, so that means we have to pass entry in the journal. Okay, so in here on April 2, checks in hand account debit to sales account rupees 25,000. Now from this transaction you can start preparing your ledger accounts. How? Let me show you. In this journal entry we have first account checks in hand, so in ledger also we have to prepare checks in hand account first. Okay, now while preparing this checks in hand account, we have another account as to sales account 25,000, so simply we have to write to sales account in here 25,000. Remember, on debit side we are supposed to write to, and on credit side we are supposed to write by. Okay, then next account we have sales account, so we have to prepare sales account, and while preparing sales account we have checks in hand on the debit side. So what we will do is that we will simply put buy in front of this checks in hand, and buy comes on the credit side, so buy checks in hand account 25,000. Okay, now let us see the next transaction. Second part of this transaction, they said that this check was deposited into the bank on next day. Means when we deposit the check into bank, we will receive money in our bank account, so that means this transaction has to go to the cash book. So we are receiving payment on April 3 to checks in hand account, since check is going out from our hand, and we receive 25,000 in our bank account. So now for this we have to pass entry in the ledger account. Okay, checks in hand. Remember, while learning the theory we said that entries appearing on the debit side of bank column are written on the credit side of the respective accounts, and so it is appearing on the debit side in the bank column, so that means in checks in hand column account we have to write it in credit side, so we will write in credit side. And since we received money in bank account, we wrote, if you see, we wrote 25,000 in the bank column, so in here we will write by bank account 25,000. Okay, and since this is bank, since we wrote in here bank account, and in ledger we are not supposed to prepare bank account, so our entry in here is finished. Now let us see next transaction. On April 4, received a check from Ghanshyam for 3,000, allowed him discount 120. So they said only that we received check from Ghanshyam, okay, and we allowed him discount. So for this we have to pass journal entry. So on April 4 we received checks in hand, we allowed him discount of 3,000 and 120 respectively, and who is the giver? Ghanshyam is the giver, rupees 3,120. So we will post in ledger. Okay, now checks in hand account we have already prepared, so in checks in hand ledger account what we will do is that we'll simply write to Ghanshyam on the debit side rupees 3,000. Remember, we have to write only 3,000. okay, we are not supposed to write 3,120 because in this amount 120 is for discount allowed. So after finishing checks in hand account, and next account is discount allowed. So in ledger we will prepare discount allowed account, and in the debit side we will write to Ghansham and 120 for discount. Okay, finish. Then on April 6th, that check that we received from Ghansham we endorsed, means we gave it to Gopal. Okay, again there is not involvement of paying and receiving of cash, so that means it will not take place in cash book, but we have to pass journal entry. So what we will do is that we will write Gopal is the receiver of check and check is going out from our hand, so through checks in hand account rupees 3000. Okay, the value of that check was 3000, so we wrote 3000 in here. Now for ledger entry, we don't have Gopal account in our ledger, so what we will do is that we will prepare Gopal account in here. Okay, so in Gopal account we will write two checks in hand rupees 3000. And next is checks in hand account. Since we have already made checks in hand account, so in checks in hand account we will write by Gopal rupees 3000 in the credit side. Okay, then let us see next transaction. On April 10, instructed the bank to issue a draft of 10,000 in favor of Anil. The bank charged 20 for issuing the draft. Okay, we give instruction to our bank to issue a draft of 10,000. Okay, in favor of Anil, and for doing that bank charged us rupees 20. So what we will do is that we will, since we are instructing bank to pay him a draft, that means money will be deducted from our bank account, so that means we have to write in the payment side in cash book. Okay, so on day 10 we will write by Anil 10,000. Okay, now for doing that they charge 20, and that 20 rupees will also be deducted from our bank account, so we will write separately by bank charges account rupees 20. It shows that 10,000 they deducted for draft and rupees 20 was deducted for bank charges. Okay, now for posting this in our ledger, what we will do is that, since first one is Anil, okay, so we have to prepare Anil account, the next one is bank charges account. Since this transaction is appearing on the credit side of our cash book, that means in this ledger accounts we have to enter it in the debit side. Now let us see Anil account. Okay, see here Anil account. Since that payment, see in here the transaction in here is appearing on the credit side, so in Anil account we will record it in the debit side as writing to bank account, because we wrote the amount in bank column, so we will write in here to bank account rupees 10,000. Okay, finish. Then next account is bank charges account rupees 20. Again this is appearing in the credit side of our cash book, so we will prepare bank charges account and we will write on the debit side as to bank account rupees 20. Since these two are bank, we don't have to prepare any bank account. Okay, so let us see the next transaction. On April 16, we discounted a bill receivable of 5,000 at 1% through bank. Okay, means we had a bill receivable of worth of rupees 5,000. We gave it to the bank, and the bank they deducted 1% of 5,000. It will be 50 rupees, and after deducting 50 rupees they gave us 4,950 as cash. Okay, since we are receiving 4,950 as cash, that means we have to record it in our cash book. Okay, so in here we will write to bill receivable account 4,950. Again I'm repeating, pay very much attention. Okay, we discounted a bill receivable. Bill receivable will be nothing but a piece of paper. It was worth of rupees 5,000. We paid it to the bank and they gave us money after deducting 1% of interest. Okay, 1% of 5,000 is 50. So after deducting this 50 rupees, the remaining amount, that is 4,950, we received from bank. Okay, so we wrote to bill receivable account 4,950, and for that remaining 50 rupees that they deducted as charge will be recorded in journal. Okay, in here discounting charges account, because it is an expense for us. We expended 50 rupees and we received 4,950. So that is why discounting charges account was debited and bill receivable account was credited by rupees 50. Okay, now let us see how we are going to treat it in our ledger. Okay, now see, for bill receivable account, it is appearing on the debit side. Till now we don't have any bill receivable account in ledger, so we will prepare one bill receivable account in ledger in here. Okay, after preparing, see in the cash book it is appearing on the debit side, so that means we have to record it in credit side. Okay, then next is the name. Okay, name, since we received amount in our bank column, means we are writing that amount in bank column 4,950. So in ledger we will write by bank account 4,950. Okay, finish. Now for that remaining 50 rupees, for that which we pass journal entry. Okay, discounting charges account, do we have it? No. So we will write one discounting charges account. Okay, now first account was discounting charges account, and the another account is to bill receivable. So in discounting charges account, 2 comes in the debit side, so to bill receivable account 50 rupees. Then next account is bill receivable account. Do we have any bill receivable account? No. So sorry, where is bill receivable account? Here, sorry, we have it's little bit difficult to see. Okay, so we already have bill receivable account, and we don't, since we are going to make entry for discounting charges, we will simply put buy in here and we will write 50. So buy comes in the credit side, so buy discounting charges rupees 50. Okay, it's a little bit confusing, but whenever you have doubt, you pause the video, you rewind it and try to understand again. Okay, so this is the advantage of online classes, means you don't have to ask the teacher over and over again. You can just simply pause the video, rewind it, and still if you are not able, then you can ask me. Okay, now let us see the next transaction. On April 20, received a bank draft for 8,850 from Mahesh in full settlement of 9,000. Now he was supposed to pay us 9,000, but he gave us a draft of 8,850, and that draft was sent to the bank on that same date. Okay, that means if we send that draft to the bank on same day, so this amount of 8,850 we will receive in our bank account. So that means it will be recorded in the cash book and on the receipt side. So we will write to Mahesh account 8,850. Okay, now this 8,850, we were supposed to receive 9,000, but instead of that we received only 8,850. That means the remaining 150 is nothing but we allowed him discount. So for allowing discount, we have to pass journal entry. Discount allowed account debit to Mahesh rupees 150. Now come to the ledger posting. First we will post for this Mahesh account the amount that we received from him. Okay, since do we have Mahesh account in our ledger? Let us see. Nope. So we will prepare Mahesh account. The next step is to see where on which side this transaction was recorded. It was recorded in the debit side, that means in Mahesh account it will be recorded in credit side in here. Okay, then the amount. Okay, amount was written in the bank column, so in here we will write by bank account 8,850. Now cash book transaction over. Let's go to the journal for discount allowed. See, first account is discount allowed account. So since we already have discount allowed account in here, we will write to Mahesh. To Mahesh will come in here. To Mahesh rupees 150. Okay. The next account we have Mahesh account. Now just now we have made one Mahesh account. Since Mahesh account we are going to enter in Mahesh account, we will simply put buy in here and we will write buy discount allowed in the credit side rupees 150. Okay. Now let us see the next transaction. On April 21, we placed an order with Vikas for goods of the value 10,000. Remember, we placed order only. Okay, we haven't paid 10,000 to him. Then we have sent a check of rupees 8,000 with the order. Means 10,000. We made a bill of 10,000. Not bill means like some paper in which we wrote that order, and along with that paper we gave a check of rupees 8,000 to him. So what we will do is that for that 8,000 that we paid him, we will write in here by Vikas 8,000. Okay. Now you don't think that remaining 2,000 will be discount. No, it was just an order given to him. Okay, there was no discussion about discount or anything else. So we'll just simply think that we paid him 8,000. So now what we'll do is that, do we have any Vikas account in ledger? No, we will prepare one. Then next, on which side this transaction is appearing in cash book? It is appearing in the credit side. So that means in Vikas account we will write in the debit side. Then in which column we wrote that 8,000? In the bank column. So we will write in here to bank account 8,000. Finish. Okay, now let us see the next transaction. On April 25, Dinesh, who owed us 8,000, we were supposed to receive 8,000 from him. He became insolvent and he paid us only 60 paise in a rupee. Means for all 1 rupee he paid us 60 paise, and the remaining 40 paise was declared as bad debt. So what we will do is that for that 60 paise in a rupee that we received from Dinesh, we will first write in our cash book. So we received from Dinesh, so we will write to Dinesh. And if we calculate 60 paise in a rupee, then 60 paise in 1 rupee, okay, into 8,000. 60 paise by 100 paise into 8,000 will give us how much? 4,800. That means we received 4,800 from Dinesh. Okay, and the remaining 40 paise, that is 40 by 100 into 8,000, has been declared as bad debt. So for that we will pass journal entry. Okay, here bad debts means 3,200 was declared as bad debts, and since bad debt is loss for us, we will debit it. And who is the person? Dinesh. So we will write Dinesh to Dinesh. Okay, 3,200. Now let's come to the ledger part. Now since we received amount from Dinesh, do we have Dinesh in our ledger account? No, so we will prepare Dinesh account. Then on which side this transaction is taking place? On the debit side. So in here we will write on the credit side. Then in which column we wrote the amount? In cash column. So that means we will write in here by cash account 4,800. Then come to the journal entry that we made for bad debts. So first account is bad debts. Do we have any bad debts account? Nope. So we will prepare in here bad debts account. Then we will simply write to Dinesh 3,200. To Dinesh on the debit side 3,200. I'm not mentioning about dates. Okay, you have to be careful about dates. So for every transaction, whether in cash book, in journal or in ledger, you have to write proper dates. Okay, so in bad debts we wrote 3,200. Finish. Then next we have Dinesh account in journal. Okay, do we have Dinesh account? Yes, we already have. Then we will simply put buy in bad debts in front of bad debts account, and we will write in the credit side by bad debts account 3,200. Finish. Now let us see the next transaction. On April 26, we paid X and company by check 9,800 and they allowed us discount of 200. That means we received a discount of rupees 200. So for payment of this 9,800 by check, first we will we will record it in cash book. So in the payment side we will write by X and company. Since we paid check, that means we have to write it in bank column. Okay, then for the remaining 200 that we received discount from them, we will write X company debit to discount received account. Now let us see the ledger treatment of these two transactions. Now this is X and company. Do we have any X and company in our ledger? Nope, we haven't made any. So we will prepare one X and company account. Then next we have to see on which side of cash book we recorded. On the credit side. That means in X and company ledger we will have to write in the debit side. Then in which column we wrote that amount? In the bank column. So we will write in here to bank account 9,800. Okay, then cash book done. Now let's go to the journal entry for that rupees 200 of discount. X and company, we prepared X and company, so we have two discount received account, so two discount received account 200. Okay, then next we have discount received account. Do we have any discount received account? No, we haven't prepared yet, so we will prepare discount received account in here. And what we will do is that we will simply put by in front of X and company and we will write in the credit side X and company rupees 200. Then finish. Let us see next transaction. On April 28, deposited 16,000 into the bank. That means we took out cash and we deposited it into bank. So what we will do is that this is a contra entry. I hope you know the contra entries. Okay, this one. And for contra entries we don't need to record in the ledger. Okay, now simply moving on to the next transaction. Interest on overdraft charged by bank 2,500 means for overdraft that we had in our bank, the bank charged 2,500. That means it will be deducted from our bank account. So we will write in here by interest account 2,500. Now ledger. Do we have any interest account in ledger accounts? Nope. So we will create interest account. On which side of the cash book? Credit side. So we will write in the debit side. And in which column we wrote the amount? Bank. So we will write in here to bank account 2,500. Then next transaction. On 30 April, purchased goods for 20,000 within the state and issued a check for the same. CGST was charged at 6% and SGST at 6%. So first we will write in the cash column. Cash book. By purchases account was 20,000. And remember, for GST related purchase and sale, the payment and receipt of money is done through bank account. So we will write 20,000 in bank column. Then they said that there was CGST and SGST at 6%. So by input CGST 6% is 1,200. SGST is also 1,200. So finish. Then now let us prepare ledger. Do we have any purchases account in ledger? No. So we will create purchases account. Then since we recorded this transaction on the credit side, that means we have to write it in the debit side. And in which column? Bank column. So to bank account 20,000. In the similar manner we have to prepare input CGST account and input SGST account, and in the debit side we will write to bank account 1,200 and into SGST account also 1,200. Now let us see the next transaction. On April 30, sold goods outside the state. That means there will be IGST. Okay, worth rupees 25,000, and we received a check which was deposited on that same date. That means we received money on the same date in our bank account, and IGST was 12%. Now let us see in the cash book. We sold goods and we received money, so we will write in here to sales account. Amount was 25,000. Then output IGST 12% of 25,000 is 3,000. Okay, so what we will do is that for ledger, do we have any sales account? No. So we will prepare. We had sales account earlier. Okay, where is it? Here, sales account. On which side of the cash book is written? Debit. So we will record it in the credit side in here by bank account. 25,000. And the next item was output IGST account 3,000. So since we don't have output IGST account, we will prepare one output IGST account and on the credit side we will write by bank account 3,000. Now since we are only preparing ledger from cash book, we don't have to balance the accounts. Okay, earlier in our previous session we saw that how to balance each and every ledger account and how to prepare trial balance, but in this question they haven't asked to prepare trial balance, so we are going to simply ignore that balancing part. Okay, but for cash book you have to balance. Okay, you have to find out balance carried down as well as balance brought down. I hope you already know how to do that. Okay, so we will wind up here for this session. Thank you.